Hey college success, this is your video for week 1 of the summer semester. Hopefully at this point you have already watched my welcome video, which has walked you through how to access the different materials and folders and resources in the course. But just as a quick reminder, whenever you get into our class, under the Start Here section is the things that you will need for the first couple weeks, and then you'll kind of wean off of them, so to speak, by the 3rd or 4th week. Here is the welcome video I was just referring to. So if you have not watched that video yet, I do recommend that you watch that first so that you really are, acclimated to all of the different components of our course, especially if this is your very first Blackboard course. You also have access to the syllabus, the assignments, my welcome that tells you a little bit about myself, as well as expectations and a bunch of different, again, resources for you there. Okay. In my welcome video, I also walk you through the course messages, the announcements, the calendar, your grading, and some of these resources. So again, please check that out. In the Lessons tab is where you will start all of your actual work inside each week. And so you'll see that you have another link to the textbook access. There's also a link in the Start Here. And then inside every weekly folder is access to the text as well, because as you recall from my email and the syllabus and my welcome video, your text is free and online. Here is that muddy point I talked about in the video as well, where if you have a question for the entire class, you can click in there and post it there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into week 1 on your screen. Hopefully by the time you watch this video, this will no longer be grayed out. You'll be able to click right in and access. So I'm going to click into week 1. So again, every week is set up in a very similar fashion. You have kind of an overview, the items that you're reading and going to be spending time on. All the assignments are going to be in red. And then it's going to tell you kind of some due dates and a little bit about them there. Anything in bold is obviously important to pay attention to as well. Then you're going to have your materials folder and your actual assignment folder. So this is just a quick snapshot of what the week is going to contain. So I'm going to go ahead and click into the materials folder itself. And so here you can see there's a couple different resources. So the Title IX PowerPoint, which I will talk about in relation to the assignment here in just a little bit. Here is a link to online learning. So when you click in there, just lots of different information about eStark State, which is, some people call it eStark State, Blackboard, Learning Management. They all mean the same thing. So if you needed kind of specific resources for online learning, that's a good place to go right there. You also have some more student resources right here. So the bookstore, My Stark State, the college webpage, and I'm going to show you a couple more resources today as it's integrated with our chapter. And then you're going to see notes on the materials, Chapter 1 slide, Chapter 1 text. When you click on the Chapter 1 slides, it's going to bring up this right here. It's kind of like a equivalent to maybe a PDF in PowerPoint version. And then when you click on Chapter 1 text, it's going to take you right to Chapter 1 of the textbook, which you have the whole table of contents over here if you needed it. So I'm just going to kind of show you the sections of your text, and then I'm going to use the slides to guide my lecture, and then I'll get into the actual assignments. So Chapter 1, again, when you click into here, you can see all of the chapters here, and you can kind of breeze through them, but we're going to focus on Chapter 1, and this is just like introducing you to college, which makes sense. We're in a student success type course, the college and career success, and so the very first chapter is just kind of checking in and seeing where you are in terms of why did you choose to go to college, what can you expect from your first type of year, your first year experience, college expectations in general, the differences between high school and college, and how this course in particular can help. So you can see, again, there's a little survey, and we're going to talk about this in the assignment folder as well. And it's going to talk about some student profiles. It's going to give you an outline of the chapter. As you go through, you see again to navigate, down here you can click next, or you can click the next section right here. So questions to consider. It's going to go all in depth here. And again, my slides here in just a minute, or technically the text slides, are going to go of an overview. I'm just showing you kind of how to navigate the textbook, because I'm always going to, suggest that you do go to certain sections and pay a little bit more time in those sections if you want to find out more than the actual slides are, giving you. So you're going to see a lot of this information in the slides here in just a minute, but again, I just want to make sure you know how to navigate through the text itself. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the slides to start kind of the lecture part. So our chapter 1 is about exploring college. And so these are the sections, which you just saw over here in the actual link to the textbook. And here is the survey at the beginning. So I just want you to kind of look at these questions just on your own, nothing formal, and just kind of think like, are you fully aware of the expectations of college and how to meet them? Do you know why you're in college and have clear goals? Do you take responsibility for your learning? Do you feel comfortable working with faculty, advisors, and classmates? So just kind of take a quick self-check and think, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you on this? 1 being the least aware or least familiar, and 10 being the most. Here are some things that we're going to talk about in this first chapter, the goals that this section is going to really focus on. This is, and you probably just saw it real quick when I was breezing through here, these are 2 different student comparisons. So when you get a chance, you can bring up the PowerPoint yourself, or you can look at it in your text here. I saw it, real quickly when we went through here. So what do these students have in common, and how does that relate to you? Well, it kind of brings it back to you right here. All right, so first section. So this is just kind of the intro. First section, why are you in college? What are the rewards, and why this course? So decision making, hopefully you arrived at Stark State after a very thorough and detailed decision making process, and some hopefully goals that you're either very clear on, or you're carving those goals out as you're here. So here is a kind of it's already filled out, but you're going to get a chance on your own to fill it out. So here are the things that I want you to think about, the 5 whys. Why are you in college? Again, this column is going to give you examples. Why did you want to earn a degree in? Why do you want to do this? Why do you feel it's important? And why do you want to use your voice to do this? So you can see here's kind of a blank piece. So I want you to think about it. Why are you in college? You're in college to hopefully earn a degree or certificate in, a field that you're passionate in. And then, go through these questions. Why this field? Why do you want to use this to make a difference? Why do you want to go into this field to make a living? So just kind of think about that if you haven't already. Create goals for yourself. Here is you may have seen things like this different ways, but this is kind of a snapshot of the monetary value of earning a college education. Now, it doesn't necessarily say like what fields, because there are some fields where if you get a 4-year degree, you're going to make really good money, and there are some fields where all you need is a 2-year degree and you're going to make outstanding money. So it doesn't really necessitate what field this is. Just in general, overall, you can make more money going into, your associate, bachelor's, master's, and so on degrees. So and a lot of people do, that's a big decision. It's a big part of your decision is how much money you're going to be able to make and how are you going to support yourself and your family. Other big benefits is greater job satisfaction. If you put a lot of time and work and effort into a degree, it leads to greater job satisfaction, job stability, overall health and wellness. Working on a goal and trying to achieve that degree really does help your overall mental health, and then it helps the next generation, so your kids, their kids, and so on. And so here are 8 career readiness competencies that throughout your time, at Stark State or any other institution, these are the things that you should be able to develop and work on. And so a lot of your classes will have these kind of things built in. Sometimes you'll have to just learn them from experience. Sometimes you can take a workshop. Maybe you really do need help with digital technology. You struggle with new technological tools. And so there are workshops, there are specific classes you can take. Sometimes professionalism and work ethic, you just kind of learn through those life experiences. So these are things, and it may be important again for you to just kind of take a minute and be like, where are your strengths on this list, and where do you need to kind of improve, and how can you go about improving on those things? Something else you want to think about, in what ways will earning a college degree be valuable to you now and in the future? So I know my students in these classes sometimes are at all different levels. Some of you are still high school students taking this for college credit. Some of you just graduated, maybe just a couple weeks ago, or maybe you took a year off. Some of you have been out of the field of education for a few years and you're a returning student. Maybe you're a little non-traditional, meaning you're not, right out of high school. So this question will vary based on where you are in your life, obviously, but hopefully you can still answer it. How can earning a degree be valuable to you now and in the future? So why are we taking this course? So every 2 and 4 year college or university requires their first semester students or their first year students to take a course like this, either a college success class, a student success, a student orientation. And they've collected a lot of research over the years that does say that this type of course increases retention, it increases GPA, it increases, knowledge and awareness of goals and expectations. So there is a benefit to these courses that has been backed up by research, not only at our own institution, but across the country. So first year experience, how are you going to adjust to this? What are some experiences that you're going to have? Again, some of you, this might not be your first year. Maybe you took a year or 2 of college. You had to step away from it for whatever reason. Now you're back. Or maybe you took a year already and you got out of taking this class that first year somehow, but now here you are. So either way, how are you going to adjust to the first year or a summer semester, as our case is? What are these experiences that you might have to be looking for? And here's all the ways that people have to adjust to college. And some of you, again, depending on where you are in your life, you may not have to adjust in all of these ways. We have some students who, financially, this will be a huge adjustment for them because they're trying to find a way to pay for their college experience, where other students, they might be here on a full scholarship, and so it might not be quite as much of an adjustment. Same thing with maybe your cultural adjustment. So if you're not used to being in the college campus or in the academic environment, there's a lot of college jargon, so to speak, the own language that college uses. Go to the registrar's office. Do you need accommodations? Do you need to go see the bursar? Like all these words could be just a cultural adjustment, not to mention our students who are here, learning because they're from a different country or they speak a second or third language. So lots of different adjustments. And again, just make sure that you are aware of those things. And here is an example of all of those, the different kinds of adjustments, and how can you exhibit those, or how do you know that you've adjusted to those different areas? Okay. Let's go down here, and this talks about, again, exploring college, and then it leads us into general expectations. So what language and customs do you need to know to succeed in college? What is your personal responsibility? What resources are going to use, and what are challenges in the first year? So there are, again, as I mentioned a couple of slides ago, college does have its own language. College itself is its own culture. Whether you live 5 minutes from the campus you attend or not, college has its own culture of expectations and norms and customs and things like that you might be a little unsure of at first, but as you get a couple weeks into the semester, you start to get the hang of it. You understand some of the language that is used and some of the expectations, and so that's why sometimes it's a little bit jarring when you first start. So this is kind of thinking to yourself, what are some new terms you've encountered? So maybe syllabus isn't something that you necessarily used when you were in high school. Some high schools do use the word syllabus to describe their course layout. Some high schools don't. And so syllabus might be new, according to where you went to high school. Maybe some of you are just now, financial aid in itself is its own world. So lots of different words and expectations for students to be familiar with as a college student. So here are some more examples, to figure out its own customs. It's really important to maybe build that connection with either your teachers, your advisor, someone on campus, because they're going to be the people who can really help you connect to others and make sure that you are getting everything you need to make your college experience successful. There's a couple little diagrams here that talk about, the importance of connecting with others. This table is going to be really important to one of your assignments, so I'm just going to point that out real quickly. So remember slide 26, table 1.3, and in the textbook, when you go there, you'll see that it has another differences slide here. So you're going to use this actually for one of your assignments. So this goes through the differences between high school and college, because again, regardless if you're fresh out of high school or if you've had some time off, there is a big curve to understand, how these two worlds, so to speak, are different. For instance, learning in a high school setting, it's usually done inside the classroom. Yes, there's homework assignments and things like that, but it's often done in class with the teacher guiding. Now in college, it's a lot of outside of class learning. If the faculty definitely lectures and assigns material, but you still have to do the reading, especially in an online class. You still have to monitor your progress, and you still have to, make sure that you're dedicating enough time and energy to the material. And so this will kind of outline the differences between those high school and college expectations. Some of what you learn is hidden. So what do I mean by that? So here's like a little example situation. Your history syllabus says on Tuesday, you're going to be lecturing over the 1929 stock market crash. This sounds pretty straightforward, but there's unwritten rules that are not indicated on the syllabus, meaning what should you be doing before attending class? Well, you should read that chapter. You should look it over and be familiar with that concept, with that chapter. When you're in class, you should be taking detailed notes. You should be asking questions. You should be referring back to any kind of notes you took before the class started. What should you do after class? You should review the notes. You should fill in any gaps. What if you're not able to attend? Well, you send an email, you call. So again, all those things are just, sometimes the instructor won't always say, here's what I expect you to do. It's hidden. It's like a hidden curriculum. So you have to know these kind of rules. And this is what this class is designed to tell you about. Okay. Also, again, you want to make sure that you are taking personal responsibility. Again, even more so important in an online class. You want to make sure that you are really being, as it says there, like you're in the driver's seat. You're taking control and to reach out for help when you need it. What to expect during this first year, or especially even during a first semester. If it's summer semester, it goes so quickly and it can be really overwhelming. You're going to probably be excited, but also nervous. And your classes are going to get more difficult as you go, not only by week, but also by semester. And so you want to make sure that you really pay attention to your grading, the feedback that you get, because that's going to really help you prepare as you move to future tests and papers. Sometimes students get really shocked their first couple tests or papers because it's lower than what they expected, and you might have to change up the study strategies that you use. Here is some like a little table, so to speak, about different resources. So to make it more personal, I'm going to go ahead and go to our homepage. So I'm just at starkstate.edu. I'm going to go to info for current students. Now there's links to this in Blackboard, in my Stark State, but I'm showing you again here. So here's a bunch of resources here on campus. So let's say you are struggling with math. And so there's a Math Learning Center. So you would click on here and it's going to tell you a little bit about it. And they've already got their summer hours posted. So you could find out all the information, online tutoring. I mean, there's lots of information here. Let's say that you have a paper coming up and you're not sure how to cite it, or you're not sure where to get your resources. Digital library, or the actual writing of the paper itself. Writing Center. Here's some general tutoring information. So lots of information on this page, and I wanted to make sure you are aware of all those different resources, because even though it's summer semester, they're still here. They're still here to help you. Okay, so there's also some challenges that students tend to have to overcome, especially early on. You're a little nervous about making a mistake. You have a lot trying to juggle, your schoolwork, maybe a family, maybe a job, all of that, and also just taking care of yourself as well throughout this whole process. Here are some other links to resources that the textbook provides, and it kind of wraps up with talking about, well, how can this book and this course help you? It's going to help you kind of develop your purpose, make sure that you have strategies that are going to help you be successful, and know the resources that are on campus. All right, and then at the very end, revisit those questions if you recall all the way up here at the beginning. Here they are again. How would you rate yourself now? Do you feel like, after the first chapter, again, so I hopefully encourage you to go through and read a little bit more in depth here. But how do you feel about these areas now? How would you rank yourself now? Okay, so that's the PowerPoint. Again, when you are done with the PowerPoint, I encourage you to click into these sections that the PowerPoint kind of gave you highlights of, but really look in depth. And just base it on where you are in your life. Because again, some of you may need some of these more than others based on what kind of student you are in terms of fresh out of high school, you're returning student, whatever the case might be. All right, so that's chapter 1. So let's go ahead and talk about your assignments. So I'm going to go ahead and go back here to week 1. I'm going to scroll down. So now you've looked at your information in your materials folder, you've looked at the PowerPoint, you've gone into a little bit more depth into chapter 1 itself. And I'm going to go ahead and click on week 1 assignments. And I know there's a lot, as I said in the welcome video, because this is a 16-week course filed down into 8 weeks. And this is a brand new textbook. We're still getting the feel for all these assignments. There's just a lot to do every week. You have 2 discussion forums. The first one is right here. So you can see the prompt is right here. Introduce yourself. Share at least 3 things about yourself. Here's the 3 things you're going to share. A time when you were proud of an accomplishment. Second, an interest or hobby. Third, at least 1 goal. Okay, so it says 150 words or more. So if you need to, pull up a Microsoft Word document and, type your answers here, because Microsoft Word takes your word count for you, and you can copy and paste it into your discussion forum. Because if I do see a post that looks like it's well under 150, I do copy and paste it into Word so I can get a quick word count. So if it's just, a little shy, I'm not going to take points off. But if it's obviously short of 150 words, you will have some points knocked off for that. Okay, so there's your prompt. Introduce yourself, share at least 3 things about yourself. Proud of accomplishment, interest, and at least 1 goal. This is due by Wednesday. So Wednesday of week 1 for week 1 attendance. And remember, you have two discussion forums, so they're both going to be due Wednesday. And then you have to respond to 2 students by Sunday to get the rest of your points for this discussion post. So when we say respond, it's not just I agree or yes, it's an actual response, like a sentence or 2, making sure that you're really engaging, just like you would talk to someone in the classroom. As a reminder, you post by clicking right here. So again, I clicked right on the words right here. I'm going to hit create thread, and it's going to pop up the prompt again right there. And in the subject, I can just put, intro forum, and then right here is where I will type my post, and then I'll hit submit. Okay? And when you go to respond to a classmate, I'm going to get into an old one here. When you respond to a classmate, you simply click on the name of their thread and then hit reply. That's how you do your response. So I wanted to show that as well. Okay, so you are posting your response to that by Wednesday, and then 2 classmates by Sunday. Title IX training and quiz. So if you recall back in your materials folder, there is some more information about Title IX in a PowerPoint if you wanted to open that up to help you. But what this is, you'll click on it and it's going to open up into its own little window. Right here it is. And you can maximize it if you want. And it's going to kind of talk to you about Title IX. Every single student in these classes takes this. And so you'll go through and you can see it move along. It's going to ask you some questions. It's going to give you some information. You want to make sure on your very last slide you hit submit, and that is run its course all the way through. This is an automatically graded assignment, which means as soon as you're done, or within an hour or so, it'll automatically transfer over to the grade book. Please make sure you check it. So go into my grades and find that assignment right here. Make sure it does not look like this. That means in progress. That means a grade is not copied over. Now again, it might not be instant, but an hour or 2 later, check to make sure, because if this right here, this symbol, if that's what you see, that's all I see as well. So you want to make sure an actual grade appears for that particular assignment, since it is automatically graded by Blackboard. Okay, so that is due Sunday the 13th. Here's another one that's automatically graded. It's a college resources digital scavenger hunt. It's going to be very similar. You click on it. It opens up into its own little window here. And this is going to
Stark State College offer
talk to you about the resources on campus. And so you're going to click through and it's going to ask you, like, hey, here's where you go, and if you want, you can click on the website link there and you can go explore it, and it's going to ask you questions about where different resources on campus are located. Again, when you're done with the very last one, make sure you hit submit, and then make sure that you see that the grade has copied over into the gradebook. Okay? That is also due, again, Sunday the 13th, both of those Sunday the 13th. Here is another skills survey. It is the same one from your slideshow, but this one you can kind of answer the questions. So I'm just going to answer, save answer, click next one. You can see it's real quick. It's just like the one in the PowerPoint, only this one kind of records it for you. So if you wanted to go back and check your answers from the first to the last, you can. You can review your results. Like here it is, so that at the end of the chapter, you can take it again and do it as a comparison. This is not required. That's why I use this as a self-reflection. It's not worth any points. So if you don't do it, that's okay. It's not going to count against you. I just encourage you to do it as a self-reflection to see, did you change your mind on any of those? It's kind of just like a self-check-in. All right, here's the other discussion form. Remember I said just about every week has 2 discussion posts, and they both have to be responded to by Wednesday of each week to earn full attendance points. So if you only post in this one by Wednesday and not this one, you only get 50% attendance. So you want to make sure you post in both by Wednesday and then respond to 2 students in each forum by Sunday. So 4 responses total. So here's your chapter 1 post. It says, what will completing a degree for you, do for you in light of your dream job? What will earning a degree mean to you and your family? So again, 150 words. So type it in Word, copy and paste it over, and then respond to 2 classmates by Sunday with a meaningful response, a sentence or 2. So it's just really 2 questions, but you can definitely expand on it. And this is a good place for you to obviously tell us, what is your degree in? What are you pursuing? What do you want to do as your job? So that's how you get to that 150 word mark. You give us a little bit of context and tell us a little bit about that. Okay, so there's your other discussion forum. Okay, here's one of you have 2 chapter 1 assignments. So here's your first one. And what is nice about these is they're PDFs that can be edited for a lot of these assignments. This one is easy because you can type it right in the assignment area. So here, you're going to click in here because it'll pop up again. And you're going to actually just write your response where it says write submission. You're going to type it here. Okay, so that way you can type it right there and then you'll eventually hit submit. Here's what it's asking you. So this is really going to depend on if you're currently in high school or if you've already graduated. So you're going to approach it differently based on where you are. So it says if you already graduated from high school, complete the assignment from the perspective of when you were still in high school, or how did you make the decision about coming to Stark State? So number 1, how far away do you want to live from your hometown? Will you be able to drive or will you need to fly? If you're still in high school, if Stark State is not your final destination, so to speak, as a college, how far away do you want to live? If you are currently a student, full-time college student or part-time college student, not a CCP student, how did travel kind of play into your decision-making? Did you want to be close to your college? Is that why you chose Stark State, because you only live 15 minutes away? What extracurriculars are you interested in? What clubs, organizations, or sports do you think you can either continue into college if you're in high school, or do you want to look into now? And I'm going to show you here under current students. We're going to go to student clubs. There's a whole list of organizations right here, and this can help you answer that question. Look at this whole list. You can kind of scroll through. You can see some of them are related to majors, so they're very degree connected, and some of them are just for fun, like a gamers guild, a math club, but then there's also things that are really specific to certain categories of people. So take a look through, and that can maybe help you even answer that part of the question, what extracurriculars like clubs and organizations. Question 3, what size college or university do you want to attend? A large school, a small school? So again, if you're in high school, not just have yet decided on your final college choice, answer it just how it's written. If you've already made the decision because you're here at Stark State and this is your final choice of a college, then did size play a factor? Did you think, yeah, Stark State has 10,000 students, but the classroom sizes are small? Or maybe some of you are going to transfer. So how does that indicate into your decision making? And then question 4, create a list of 10 colleges, universities that you're interested in attending after high school. So this one, obviously, if you're in high school, you can do this. If you're here at Stark State and you're thinking of transferring to a 4-year, tell me your choices. If Stark State is your final choice because your 2-year degree and then for now you're done, tell me that for number 4. Okay, so again, all of this will depend on where you are in your life right now. That is due by Sunday the 13th. Okay, next is Chapter 1 assignment. This one opens up right into a PDF that you can type right in, which makes it really nice. And so this is where I said that slide. I'm going to go back up. Here we go, 26, where it really talks about high school versus college can help. So it's going to say in high school, and it's going to give you all these things that are like the expectations, so to speak, of high school or descriptions, and then how do they differ from college. So this is where you would type right in here. You can also go back into your textbook, college culture, expectations, and this will go over like high school versus college. Okay. So when you are comfortable, again, you'll fill all these out. You'll type all your answers. You'll come over here to hit download. You're going to make sure you save it with your changes. If you do without your changes, it's going to wipe it all out. So with your changes, save it somewhere. And I'm just going to put high school versus college. And I'm going to put my last name because you can see there's no spot for a name. Now it should come across when you submit it, but I always like to just attach my name to the document anyway. Hit save. And then once I'm back in Blackboard, I'm going to click on the actual name of the assignment. I'm going to browse my files. There it is on my desktop. I'm going to click it. I'm going to hit open. And I can see there it is. Looks like maybe it's still, yeah, there it is. And I'm going to hit submit to make sure that it goes through. Okay. That is how you do that. And I'm going to get out because I can't technically submit it anyway since I'm the instructor, but that's how you submit that assignment right in there. That is also due by Sunday the 13th. All right, last assignment, Chapter 1 quiz. So here's the actual quiz itself. You'll click on it. It's going to open up into a Microsoft Word document, and there are 5 questions. It's a 10-point quiz, so each question is worth 2 points, so that you have your 10 points, and every question needs to be responded to in 2 to 5 complete sentences. And you can see in a lot of them, there's more than one question. So you want to make sure that you address the entire question. So, question 1, knowing why you are in college is an important factor in maintaining motivation, especially when you face adversity. What can you do now to design a plan to remember your purpose for attending college? Well, this is one of the things the slideshow talked about. What's your purpose? Question 2 talks about your transitions, the different transitions you've made throughout your life. How can that help prepare you to be successful in college? What can you do if your grades are lower than expected? How can you kind of move forward? This one should be fresh because you have an assignment on it, the differences between high school and college. How would you determine if someone has successfully transitioned from high school to college? And then importance about self-awareness. So again, respond to all 5 questions with 2 to 5 complete sentences. Make sure you save it somewhere on your computer or your drive, because then you'll go into here, click on this, and it's going to be another Dropbox. You'll browse it. You'll try to, find it, and then submit it. And then finally, the very last thing, this is not a required assignment. It's just asking you to register for Handshake, which is like a job posting board. A lot of colleges have transferred to this. We used to use something called College Central Network, but this is something that you can use in a couple weeks, so it'll be helpful to go ahead and register for now. And that's all you have to do is register. So there's a link that's going to talk to you about how registered. All students are pre-registered, so there's really not a lot to do in terms of completing that registration. All right, so as a quick recap, you are reading Chapter 1. You're looking through, the text and the PowerPoint here. And then when you're ready, you're going to post in the 2 discussion forums, Intro and Chapter 1, by Wednesday for week 1 attendance. Only posting in one is partial attendance, so make sure you post in both, and then respond to 2 classmates in each forum. And then by Sunday, do the Title IX quiz, the digital scavenger hunt, the 2 Chapter 1 assignments, and the Chapter 1 quiz. I will be messaging each of you individually as you complete your entire week, just to say, hey, you're all done, you didn't miss anything, so that way you know you're on the right track. In the meantime, always feel free to send me a message, send me an email, leave me a voicemail, whatever you need to do to assist you through this very first week. All right, hope you all have a great first week of summer semester. Until next time, bye.